Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. Before I mention my guest today, I'd like to remind everyone that if they enjoy this content, please like and subscribe down below. It really means a lot to us. Today I have the band Fix the Glitch, and they are a grunge alt-rockish kind of band, and they met on Craigslist, but don't worry, we'll discuss that a little bit further, how maybe this guys might not be all right in the head to do something like that. But before we go into that, why don't we go around and you guys each introduce yourselves and then tell us kind of what got you into music, kind of what inspires you, and what you guys are currently up to.
Want to lead off?
Oh, crap. Okay. I'm Ben Albus. I'm one of the guitar players in Fix the Glitch. Started playing guitar when I was about 12. I was super into like 80s classic rock music and 70s, 60s, all that. And that inspired me to start playing guitar. And it's been a great outlet for me. It's a huge passion of mine. So it's been a lot of fun so far.
Yeah.
No, let's go around the back. I get to go last.
Oh,
Sam?
yeah, frontman gets to go last. Okay, I'm Sam Elvis. I'm Ben's brother. And yeah, I'm the drummer of Fix the Glitch, and I started playing music. Man, it's been kind of a little bit of a rocky journey with music. Like, I started technically playing the drums when I was like 10 years old, but like not seriously. And then I would say a couple years ago is when I actually started taking up the drums seriously. Why are you air quoting next to me? Yeah, so about 2 years ago is when I picked it up seriously. But yeah, music has always been kind of a passion of mine and something that I've liked a lot and something that influences me. Yeah, that's pretty much all I would say. Yeah.
All right, I'm Aaron. I'm the bass player. I kind of started when I was around 10 or 11, but I didn't take it seriously. I thought video games were more important, so then I got back into it in high school. But I played like Beatles, Radiohead, really anything, and then kind of branch off. But I mean, yeah, like Sam and the other guys, it's a big passion for me. And it's a good outlet, So yeah.
Alright, and I'm Mitch. I'm the other guitar player in Fix the Glitch. I started playing guitar when I was 11. Got really inspired by stuff like Guitar Hero, Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith. And then this band, Metallica, came into my life, and it's been downhill ever since.
Good stuff. Yeah, I'm James. I'm the singer guy for Fix the Glitch. I make noise. I mean, I've been singing basically my entire life. I was brought up with choir class in school and all that, and I constantly was just the favorite for that. I would get the solos. I would be the one out front. I wanted to be that front guy before I knew a front guy was a thing,
Yeah.
And I didn't really take it seriously or anything like that. It was just fun to perform, When I was a teenager, I started getting into the hip hop side of things. I started writing raps. I started recording, and between the age of 15 and like 19, I put on well over 100 shows. Traveling from down into Iowa, over into Illinois, over into Wisconsin, bunch of stuff in southern Minnesota. But I mean, when I was a kid singing and stuff, I didn't think about being a rapper. I wanted to be a rock star, and it wasn't until a couple years ago that I really started pursuing that, thinking that I want to sing. I don't want to do this rap stuff. It's not, and like part of it was just the scene itself. Hip hop, especially around here, is kind of toxic. Mm-hmm. Everybody just kind of downs on each other. It's not about building the scene up. It's about you and yourself and what you're doing. Yeah. Whereas with the rock scene around here, most of the shows that I go to, half of the crowd, people from other bands. Mm-hmm. The scene supports itself, and it's a beautiful thing to be a part of.
Yeah. Okay, I got to talk to the bass player now, because the bass player, being the redheaded stepchild of the band, we need to ask, what do you feel is the most underappreciated part that you bring to the band?
Before we got a second guitarist, aka him, when we'd be jamming, I would do like a lot of melodic fills, a lot of stuff on the higher fretboard you wouldn't really see. So I think it's important to really kind of branch out and not just kind of drone on the low notes, like kind of expand more towards that. Because then it kind of adds more flavor to our songs, and really helps out.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
Yeah, that's great. So now we go to the drummer. Now the drummer is kind of another undervalued position in the band. Do you ever feel when you guys are playing live as the drummer? Do you ever feel any extra added pressure because you're kind of responsible for keeping the beat down? And if you kind of slip up, it kind of forces the rest of the band to slip up. Does that pressure ever? Do you ever think about that pressure when you're about to perform?
Yeah, that's
You
pretty
will
much the
now.
only. That's you kind of hit the nail on the head. That's kind of like that's like all the pressure of like all the pressure is on me to keep everything together. And you always feel like as a drummer like everybody's gonna notice if I mess up, because if I mess up, that means everybody else is gonna get off and everybody's gonna mess up. But really, after playing more shows now, I've started to learn to get more comfortable and like it's okay to mess up once in a while, as long as you keep the groove going, or just bring it back quickly, just correct your mistake right away. It's not as big as a deal as maybe your anxiety would make it seem. Yeah, or sometimes the mistake can be due to a shitty drum kit that you have, which is my drum kit that I've had since I was 10 years old. But yeah, you just kind of learning that just go with the flow in shows. That's just how live performance goes. So just don't worry about it as much.
Yeah. Now, we mentioned before that you guys had a very unusual story when it comes to forming your band. Would you elaborate a little bit and explain to us how you guys, a Craigslist ad, how that all played out and how you guys formed up?
Well, yeah, I think Ben should start with that.
Well, I've been in a couple other projects before Fix the Glitch, and all of them have originated on Craigslist for some reason.
Wow.
It just seems to be the best way to find people. So once in a while.
Not all of them. Remember yours and mine.
Oh yeah, just about all of it. But yeah, I threw an ad up on Craigslist just saying, hey, I'm a guitar player looking to jam with some people, and I can't remember if you had a similar one up for yourself.
So yeah, we both had similar ads up at the same time we're looking for people to jam with, want to start a band or something.
Kept it pretty open-minded and stuff, nothing specific, and we met up, jammed quite a few times, and started creating a little bit. Some good things were coming out of it, so then everything else just kind of built up from there.
And so initially, little Sambo back there wasn't super sure about joining up. He was down for jamming with us, but he's got other stuff to do. Mm-hmm. But we kind of finagled him into joining on full time, and it's a good thing. It works out well for everybody, and I mean they've been jamming together forever, with the whole brothers in the basement deal. Yeah. But then from there we had to find a bass player. So we threw up some ads on the Craigslist there and got a couple of responses. I think we jammed with like 2 other guys before we found Aaron back there, and it seemed to click pretty well, right from the get-go. He caught on to what we had already had, and he contributed quite a bit initially too, and it was just it was a good working fit.
And then ironically, he knew me from other mutual.
That's the other side of it, is that these two had never met before. The Craigslist advertisement, we all kind of came together, and none of us had met before. Craigslist was the barrier, and they had each randomly brought up this guitar player that they knew that lived over in Farmington. Like, it had come up a handful of times here and there. Oh yeah, this guy that I know. Oh yeah, this guy that I know. Yeah. And it turned out to be the same guy, and it's that guy right there. Mitch sitting there behind me. And it branched from, there was a show that we had scheduled that Ben here couldn't take part in. He had other business to attend to. And so we had to find a fill-in guitar player, but I was very weary about having just one fill-in guitar player, because I wanted it to be full, especially if we're bringing in somebody who doesn't know the songs. I want it to be louder so people maybe don't notice if they screw up. No offense. But Mitch here was one of those fill-in guitar players, because we had the mutual contact here, so we reached out to him, and he was down to do it, and it came together real nice. And after that, we asked him to be a part of the band full time, because 2 guitars is better than one. You know, the sound of it just it's so much more of a full effect. You know, and then you can do the layers and stuff. But yeah, so Craigslist and Weird Coincidence and Small World. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so this next question is for both the guitar players. Being that, you know, a lot of bands just have one guitar player, when you guys added on another one, did you find it difficult to kind of adapt to each other's styles, or did you guys already have like a similar style when it came to playing the guitar where you guys were easily able to gel?
Do you want to start? Or?
I'll let you start.
Okay. Okay. Well, I would say Mitch and I definitely have kind of different influences, but I feel like we pretty much clicked right away. Like we were really good at working together, not only together but also around each other to fill in the highs and lows of the sound. And I think we're pretty good at listening to what the other person's doing and just trying to highlight or complement it in some way. So I think it's been very successful working with Mitch.
Yeah, I'd say that's about the same. For me, I guess I just kind of had this knack for, you know, being able to kind of lock in on someone else's technique or style or the way they play. So for me, it was pretty easy to adapt.
Yeah, that's great. So, when you guys were starting out, did you already have the idea of like what type of genre you guys wanted to play? Were you guys all into that, or was there ever a discussion like, hey, we want to be a metal band, or we want to be a grunge band, or we want to be like a pop band, or anything like that? Or did you guys already know ahead of time that you guys wanted to be the genre that you are?
Well, it started out kind of as more of a punky type deal that we were going for, but I mean, we quickly realized that wasn't quite the right sound for us, you know. It's cool to have like some of the punk overtones, and some of our songs will definitely reflect that. But it wasn't quite where we should have been, you know. But we started tinkering around with some other songs that we had, and just kind of quickly found our place as far as sound wise, you know. 'Cause, I mean, my vocal style is fairly distinct. You know, I mean, I can do different things, but when it comes down to my rock songs, that's where I'm at, you know, and it's kind of a grungy sound, you know. I can apply it to different techniques, but it just sounds so much better with a bit of grunge behind it.
Yeah. When it comes to the lyrics that you guys write, James, if I remember correctly, you're the one that writes the majority of the lyrics. Is that true?
So far,
So far?
Like we're working on an EP right now that is mostly mine. It's got a song with Aaron back there. He wrote one of the songs on it that is freaking wonderful. I think one of Ben's.
No.
Is
We
it just
took it
mine?
off.
Oh, we took Ben's off. That's sad. But basically, everybody writes.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't had a chance to work on much of Mitch's stuff yet, but we're getting there. You know, and it's a very nice thing too to have contributions coming from every side of things. You know, even if it's not just for the writing things, like let's talk about shows. You know, we're setting up our set. We usually try to mix in a cover song just so that somebody, you know, if you've never seen us before, you've probably heard this song. And it's nice to have ideas coming all around from that too, especially because we all do have different backgrounds musically. You know, so it's nice that, you know, Mitch over here throws out metal songs all the time that we could do. And we've done a couple of those, and they turned out freaking awesome. You know, and we've even written a couple songs now that are much more on the metal side, and I think that helped lead to it because it gave us a little bit more of a comfortable feeling within that sound. You know, but so with that, like we get different tastes from everybody, and we're able to branch out as far as our influence goes, so that we don't sound the same all the time. Like it's cool to have kind of a familiar tone to yourself, but you don't want to be a one-trick pony. I don't want to be a one-hit wonder, you know?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is what they sound like. If you put out another song, well, yeah, but it just sounds exactly like this. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
No.
Mitch, I gotta say, when you mentioned Metallica, I gotta mention Master of Puppets might be my favorite song of all time. I just had to throw that out there.
Nice.
Right on.
Pandering.
Yep. And so how does the whole, when you come up with the lyrics, how does the whole thing work? Do you present them with the lyrics and everyone kind of gets to say in like what their melody is going to be part of the song, or do you have an idea and then you kind of say like, hey, let's try this out? How's the teamwork part of the band kind of work when it comes to recording or making the melodies?
It's kind of been a mix and match. Like there's a couple songs where I came in with the lyrics and like I would sing the lyrics a cappella wise, but I would have a picture of what I wanted it to sound like in my head, and we'd kind of build from there. I'd say, no, it's got to sound more, da, 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 and give direction as far as that goes, and build from that. And I mean, with that, I get suggestions from them too, as far as I think it should go like this, and it builds from the ground up like that. Other times, either Ben or Mitch here will have basically a full instrumental, and I have, either a song that has already been written or I write a new song for that instrumental specifically. But there's been a couple times where, I've already had a song written that just fit nicely with that instrumental, and we've built it from there, pieced it together so that it would work.
There's also been songs where you've come in with a vocal melody and we've just kind of switched it up, like did a 180 on the style that you were going for, and it turned on into Alice. I think Alice was one of those songs where I don't even remember what it started out as. It was not a grungy rock song. I think it was like bluesy.
It was much more of a blues song.
It was like a blues song, and now it's like a grunge rock song. So like,
an opener.
So
that's great. So when we love hearing first concert stories or like first live shows that you guys did. What was your first live show as Fix the Glitch, and how'd that go?
Well, so the first live show that we had, we didn't have Mitch back there. That was set up through the Afton booking agency. It was set up at the Red Sea there in Minneapolis, which is a very nice place. But I generally don't recommend that booking because the genre clash is phenomenal most of the time, because they just, it's like, all right, we got a rapper, we got a blues artist, we got an a cappella group, we got an indie band, we got a spoken word this.
We got one dude sitting on the floor with guitar.
And it's just, it's not a great. Yeah, it's not a great palette to work with. That's a good word to use. Yeah. But sorry, it was a nifty experience altogether. We put on a decent show. The people that were there seemed to be getting into it. But it was just weird and off-putting to be on such a mixed bill.
Yeah.
But it was still all in all a good experience. I mean, we had some fun. We got to play, and that's really the biggest thing, is being able to do shows.
It's my first ever show.
Yeah, speaking for myself, I was nervous as fuck. That was my first show I've ever played as like a drummer. So,
oh wow!
Like, the thing you were talking about with the like messing up as a drummer, like the pressure of that. I was thinking about that the entire time. Like I don't want to rush. I don't want to mess up the drum parts. Like so that was going through my head. But I think it was a really solid show. We played a pretty good show.
Yeah, a theater kid.
Yeah, and I'm a theater kid.
Yeah, it was his first show. It was his first show. It was your first show too, right? Yeah. Ben's been in a few different deals before, so it wasn't his first. Yeah, like I said, I've done 1,000,001 things, but yeah, I mean, it was still a very fresh experience and something very, very new. But,
so what are your guys' pre-show traditions? We hear from a lot of bands. A lot of them are like, oh, we take I have 2 shots of something, or we all stretch together or something like that. Do you guys have a specific, are you guys superstitious? Do you have a specific set of things that you have to do before you go on stage? Or do you guys just kind of like to wing it once you guys show up?
We generally go have a bad meal. It seems every pre-show meal seems to get screwed up somehow. And usually at fairly reputable restaurants where nothing bad happens here. Everybody has had good experiences, 5-star. We go in before a show and it's just an absolute nightmare. It's like the service is shitty, the food is terrible, and just the waiter hates us, So, I mean, that seems to be our deal so far. Hopefully that changes, because I would like to have a good pre-show meal.
Or have a 5-minute drive to McDonald's turn into 20 minutes.
Right? City driving's tons of fun. Yeah, before a show, going to try to find a Mickey D's,
and one of us gets lost.
That's great. So now, this part of the podcast, we're going to go into our Inside the Actors as Studio questions, where we have 5 questions, and I'll ask it, and then each one of you guys can give your response. We have a list that I've made, and I think once we reach podcast 50, we'll be unleashing the numbers and seeing who wins, or who's got the most votes. And this is podcast 26, if I believe so. But the first question I'm going to ask, and this is for all of you, if you could pick one song in the history of music that's ever been written, and you would be able to write it yourself personally, or you would have come up with it yourself, what song would it be and why?
For me, it would probably be A Day in the Life by the Beatles.
Oh, that's a great one.
It's so weirdly made, because originally it was 2 songs separately that were then put together on a whim. So it's like, how nuts it actually turned out to be good.
Yeah,
that's
a great song, yeah.
I think I'd probably say House of the Rising Sun.
Another great one, jeez.
Yeah, it's been a favorite of mine for a super long time. It seems like it's covered by a ton of different people.
Everybody.
I think it's just one of the most perfect songs.
That guy's vocals in that song are just unbelievable, too.
Yeah.
At the time.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing, yeah.
Anyone else?
God damn, that's a question.
That is a question.
That is a good song.
We're just getting started, too, gentlemen.
Any song that I could take and have as mine, essentially.
The song he hates.
Oh.
You guys can be one of those guys that'd be like, one of our songs, because it's so perfect.
We got a drummer answer.
Like fuck it, I might get hate for it, but whatever. The song Amsterdam by Coldplay is one of my favorite songs like ever.
Yeah.
And it's just like the lyrical content and just like the songwriting is just fantastic, and like the end of that song is one of the most like powerful moments I've ever heard of music. So I think I'd take that one.
I was gonna say, if this SOB said F it, and then he was gonna say something like a Nickelback song, I would have kicked you guys off right here and now.
Yeah.
God, you know, I think I'm gonna have to just go ahead and take it easy and say "Simple Man" by Skinner.
Classic.
It's such a powerful song, you know. I think that music as a whole is missing that a lot of times. It's just you don't get to feel it quite as often, and like you don't have to, like, the words of it don't even mean so much, because I mean it's his own story. But I mean, if you felt any sort of loss or anything like that, you feel that song, you know. And it's super powerful. Yeah, I think I would take that.
Mike?
Mine is, I've got to narrow it down to a 3-way tie between Symptom of the Universe, Black Sabbath, Master of Puppets, Metallica, or Roots by Sepultura.
Oh, yep.
Those riffs.
All the above.
That's it.
I'll take that 3-way tie. Okay, question 2. Out of all the artists that have ever lived, dead or alive, if you had the opportunity to perform one show with any artist, who would it be and why?
Stop with these questions, man.
I'll go first.
We're getting deep, okay?
Dead or alive.
Dead, Dimebag Darrell.
Dimebag Darrell? Okay.
Enough said.
Dio. Yeah.
Dio? Okay.
Any generation of Dio. I'll take Rainbow, I'll take Elf, I'll take Sabbath.
Okay, this is a thing. I was just about to announce this, and I have a more perfect opportunity to announce it now. Richie Blackmore of the band Rainbow, he's going to be on this podcast in like 2 weeks. I talked to a guy who's on tour with him, and he said that he'd get him on with him, yeah.
That's fucking sweet.
Yeah. So, audience out there, 2 weeks from now, I'll make sure to keep you guys posted. But yes, we will have a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer on this podcast. So yes, that takes. So so now let's try to calm down a little bit now before the audience gets a little too excited.
Oh.
But so what else are your guys' answers for this?
You got anything?
Who would I want to play a show
I'd say probably Hendrix. If I
Yep.
could just jam on
I
stage
could
with
go.
Hendrix for 10 minutes. Just
Yeah.
jam out. That would be the best thing in the world.
I'll always be a little fangirl and scream when I see McCartney. So
Yep.
I gotta perform with him.
He's not dead yet.
I know.
Well,
but-
depends
Dead
on
or
what
dead
circle
or
you
alive.
run through.
Seen him 3 times.
Conspiracy.
He's been dead since '68. Let's face the facts.
Yup, yes. Yes. That's awesome.
I mean, I guess I'm just gonna go with like a cliche drummer answer, and like if I could be on stage and just, I don't even have to perform with him, just watch him work as he's on stage, like Neil Peart
Yep.
of Rush. I would probably do that just because that man is a fucking genius on the drums. I just want to stand behind him. Well, you can't really stand behind him when he has a fully
Yeah.
certain routine, but just watch him work while he plays live would be awesome.
All right.
Fly suits where you're elevated above him.
Oh yeah, just like hang by my back. Yeah.
All right, so for question number 3, this is the last one that's kind of like in the out of all things, but out of all the venues on the planet, if you were given the chance to play at any venue, where would you perform at and why?
Could we turn the Roman Colosseum into a venue for a day?
You are shitting me. Like, I have waited for someone to say that. Like, I was like, I would play at either the Coliseum or Slane Castle in Ireland, if any of you guys know where that is. Those are my 2 things. I was like, if they turn the Coliseum into, like, if they opened it back up, and then they had, like, lions that were, like, chained up so, like, they couldn't reach you on stage, but, like, they'd, like, just run around, that'd be the coolest thing ever.
Oh,
Yeah, that.
All right, so we got the Coliseum finally.
Right.
For me, let's see, what would I do? I think Wrigley, that'd be kind of cool, like Wrigley Field.
Yeah. Oh, and I gotta say, none of you guys can say Red Rocks because we've had that mentioned like 9 times, so it's already like automatically won. So we're trying to give other venues a chance. Like the first 7 times people said Red Rocks, I was like, what the hell is Red Rocks? And I finally looked it up like after the 8th time, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess it's pretty cool, I guess. So then I was like, yeah, I understand. So yeah. So we got Wrigley Field and the Coliseum.
I'm gonna go with another cliche answer and just do the Hollywood Bowl, just because like I don't know, the artists that have played like really fucking famous concerts there. I think it'd just be really rad to do that.
First Avenue coming.
First step.
I'd say the Whiskey Go-Go.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wait, where's
LA?
that? What's that? Okay, I thought that was just a
Yeah.
dive bar or something.
Yeah,
I'm like,
what
what?
happened?
Because Aaron laughs at everything.
That's
I want to play at Hank's Bar over there in Bethel.
I'm a big Doors
Yeah.
fan,
Buffalo's
and that's
bad.
where they got their start. So
Mhm.
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I gotta support the home team here, First Avenue.
Yep.
That'd be
Somebody
pretty
had to
sweet.
say it. Yeah.
That's another one. I think that's our 3rd for First Avenue, so it's slowly working its way up there. And now this is where we get really deep, and you guys reveal stuff that you've never known before. Guilty pleasure songs. Each one of you guys. One song that you think all 4 other members of the band would never guess that you enjoy.
Guilty pleasure songs.
Oh man. Oh.
Okay, I work retail, so they play a lot of pop songs all the time. So you guys are gonna kill me, but Lady Gaga, I gotta give her credit because she's different. Okay?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You gotta come on.
What song of hers is your favorite?
They play Bad Romance a lot.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Bad Romance.
I like that song.
I do too.
I like that
Nice.
Catching me walking down the aisles.
Oh goodness. That's I don't know.
song. Yeah. Rockstar by Pink.
Yeah.
Do that. Rockstar by Pink. I like
Yeah,
Pink.
sure.
I'll admit it. I like Pink.
No, it's called So What.
What? Oh, it is?
So What, yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So what? Obviously, I'm not, the big-
Believe me, we've had plenty of embarrassing entries. After you guys have submitted yours, I will still tell you the list of our top 3 most embarrassing confessional guilty pleasure songs, and so far, nothing that you guys could probably say will ever come close to those 2. So just don't worry about like saying something like, "Oh, I like so and so," because don't worry, I have worse ones. I can guarantee you.
Good. Well, I like Lana Del Rey a lot, actually. So
Yeah.
I'd say maybe
You
like
go or
"Summertime Sadness" by her or something. I don't know if you guys do that.
I think I knew that.
I just saw your buddy go to one of her shows.
Oh yeah.
Mine's got to be "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
love that song.
I actually kind of like that song too.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good song.
I don't even know, man. Like I'm not embarrassed by most of my music taste because fuck what people think.
Just something that would surprise people.
Like the Barney theme song or something.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't know. Most people looking at
Fruit
me think
salad
I'm
by
like
the
a metalhead. Fuck, dude, I don't even know. Like, I'm a huge Weird Al fan.
Oh yeah.
It's not guilty pleasure
I mean, that's-
whatsoever.
No, tell
I don't
me the
even-
story. You got
The cease and desist.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I got a cease and desist order for illegally downloading music because of Weird Al.
Oh.
Like, and I had downloaded thousands of shit before then, and like it wasn't a big deal. But when I downloaded Weird Al's discography, they were like, no. You know? So that was kind of that was mildly embarrassing. Had to explain that to the wife.
Yeah. All right. Well, now I'll reveal our top 3. Number 1, obviously, we had a guy say, a heavy metal guy, mind you, say "I Want It That Way" was his favorite, was his guilty pleasure song. And then 3 podcasts ago, we had one guy say Bop was his favorite guilty pleasure song. That's a close second. I had to do a lot of soul searching to determine like what that would be. And then the third one is shit. Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Some guy was saying that was his thing. So that's just about as close as it can get. But personally, my guilty pleasure, I always admit one of the questions every time I do a podcast. I'm a Bryan Adams fan, so I kind of like most of his music is probably my guilty pleasure stuff. I've seen him in concert like almost every time he showed up. So now it's all out there, and we can move on from that, hopefully. So I decided not to do the 5th question because it was guilty pleasure genres, and we kind of all got the genre part down for most of your answers. So, James, I'm going to talk to you real quick now. You do glitched out promotional services. Why don't you kind of explain what inspired you to do that and kind of what you're currently up to with that?
Well, I discovered while trying to get shows set up for our band here that setting up shows sucks. It's a real big pain in the ass for a band starting out. And I wanted to be able to help other bands out doing that because it is a big pain in the ass. So, I mean, I've gotten a few different venue contacts and things like that and people that I can reach out to as far as getting shows set up. And I'm starting to branch out network-wise and get more bands that are interested in setting these shows up as well. And I want to help people get their foot in the door, get them shows because, I mean, the biggest part about being in a band is just being able to play. And it's cool to rock out in your basement or garage or whatever, but you want to be goddamn phone. You want people to see you. You want to be able to share what you're making, and it's easier to do that when you have somebody helping you out. When you have somebody throwing your name out there, being like, "Hey, I got this band who can come in. I got this band that can come in," and as well as just setting up these shows for them. I want to be able to get different, local photographers in there to take pictures of these bands so that they can have something to post on their social media to make them look a little bit more professional so that they don't need me to set up their shows, so they can have promoters see their stuff and be like, okay, I want these guys on a bill. And I want to help these bands out because I know how much it can just drain you to try to do this while trying to run your band too.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to be able to be creative and continue making music, but if you're constantly trying to go through the hassle of setting up shows and shaking hands and shit, it gets to be too much. And like I said, I've been doing this forever. It's only been a couple years now that I've been doing rock stuff, but I mean, I've been putting on shows since I was 16. So, I mean, I know my way around enough to where I can help these people out, and as much as I can do, I will. I have a show that I was trying to get set up at a different venue, but they decided it was too loud. So I reached out to a different venue that I had worked with, Cadence Records over there in St. Paul. And it was like, I got a couple bands that are looking to do a show. Is there any way we can get something going on? And they had a different promoter that was booked to play that night who needed a couple other bands. I tossed them his way. It's not even my show anymore, but I'm helping these bands out. I'm getting them onto something that they wouldn't have been able to get on necessarily before that. And I want to be able to be a branch. I don't need to be the guy that everybody goes to, but if I can be the guy that helps get these people over there and gets those people over there, exactly, a bridge, bridge and a branch, whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, I'll definitely leave the link to your promotional services down below, and I'll definitely leave a link to like your Facebook. So if any bands out there are listening that they need, maybe especially in the Minneapolis area, if they need any help getting shows, I mean, you can definitely give James some call or whatever, and he can probably help you out. So I mean, if you need anything, you can go to James. And now, one of our last questions. This is for each of one of you guys too. If a guy were to come up to you on the street and say like, "Hey, I'm trying to form a band of mine. Do you have any advice?" What would be the best piece of advice that you would give him as to how to form his band and make it successful?
Play drums. You'll make it easier on yourself.
That's a good one, yeah. Or bass even too.
Yeah.
See, you guys get
There's
no
so
credit.
many-
They're just like, take the easy parts. Those parts are
No, because the drummers don't exist anymore.
Yeah,
Or
that's-
they're in 3 or 4 bands already.
right.
Yeah, Sam.
My biggest piece of advice would be that more than anything, it's about the people. It's about the people that you find. It's about their personal drive for music and how motivated they are. Because you can slap, you can put a person on each instrument and put them in a room, but if they don't really mesh well together, they're probably not going to get super far. It's really just about the quality of the people, and it can take a pretty long time before you find the right combination of people, I think. And I feel like we've been really fortunate with that. So yeah, that's my biggest piece
Yeah,
of
I
advice.
gotta agree with Ben because like I've jammed with guys where it's like we barely like knew each other beforehand and barely like got along. So like because ironically, we kind of knew each other and they're brothers, and and we all got along for some reason. So actually, like getting to know each other versus just playing, it's like it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, what out of all your songs that you guys have written, for this is all for all 5 of you as well, what is your personal favorite song that you guys have come up with?
Long Time Ago is my favorite.
That's mine too. Long Time Ago is also my
It's
favorite.
kind of our power ballad type
Yeah.
thing. I don't know, but it's such a powerful song, and I love James' lyrics on it that he came up with. We've been jamming on that one since pretty early on.
One
That
of the
was
first ones we ever jammed.
that was one of the very first songs that we came up with, and yeah, it's my favorite.
You?
Probably Alice, because I mean it's the end of the show.
Or the start. Yeah, it's been the opener.
Then it's my least favorite if it's the start.
I think mine so far is Candlebeat, Mr. Aaron's contribution back there.
The bass player finally gets a shout out.
Right, exactly. No, it's another one that just has a lot of feeling to it, and it's kind of becoming a crowd favorite. Every time we do it, people seem to respond to it very
People
positively.
love that song.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun to play, and it's a lot of fun to. It's a good wholesome song, as it were.
So now, James, we know that you're married, but for everyone else out there, this is the one question that I think everyone wants to know is who gets the most ladies out of the rest of the guys in the band? Who is the ladies' man? Who has the most lady fans in the crowd? Do you guys have one?
James has a wife.
Yeah, that's why he left me out of it. Yep.
It's not me.
I don't know.
It's not me.
I want to say Mitch.
It's Ben. No, it's Ben.
I want to say Mitch.
Ben.
Mitch has had some friends out in the audience.
What are you talking about?
I
It's definitely
remember it.
Ben.
The only
I'd
people
say it's
are
probably
sure
Ben.
It's definitely
Yeah.
Ben.
No way.
Yep. It's always got to be either the guitar player or the lead singer. It's a shame.
Right.
It's a shame, but it's true. So, what's the future looking like for you guys? Do you have any upcoming shows? You guys recording any music? Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what's going on?
Yeah, so August 12th, we're going to be at the garage there in Burnsville, playing with Agony Reigns and End Park, and who else was there? Does anybody
I don't
remember?
remember.
I don't know. It's a couple Wisconsin metal bands that are coming through that are going to make a bunch of noise, and we get to play on that bill there. So that's going to be a bunch of fun. And let's see. A couple of these guys are friends with the guys in Agony Reigns there. They're a good bunch of guys. We like hanging out with them. It's going to be a good show. No, they're not there anymore. That was October.
September, the head
Oh yeah.
show.
Well, and say before that, because we are attempting to get our EP done. So after the August 12th show, we're going to go hide away for a little while and do some recording. And then in September, we have opportunity to open up for Head PE there at Lee's Liquor Lounge. And we finally got the tickets in the mail for that yesterday, so people can hit us up for tickets, and they can go to that. Plenty of time to plan ahead, get a babysitter and all that jazz. And it's on this guy's birthday, so it'd be like a birthday present to buy a ticket to go see him jam out. But then October, we also have something set up. I know that's zillion years away as far as shows go, but it's fitting to be a pretty good time. It's going to be a costume contest where people can win free merchandise from the bands that are on the bill. So far, it's us, a band called Karma Sutra, and a band called Heal. Agony Reigns was supposed to be on the bill, but they had something else come up, and by all means, that's a good opportunity for them, so we wish them well on that. But we need to find another band to fill that spot. So it is going to be a 4-band night, and it's going to be a ruckus of an event with a costume contest, and it's going to be a good time. That's all we have planned for now, but there are definitely more plans coming up. And then Glitched Out, we got August 17th at the Driftwood. We got the Montes, Polygon Peach, and Strike 13. And then, like I said, that side show that I was sort of a part of, but not quite, August 24th, going to be at Cadence Records. There's Helen Keller, Droids You're Looking For, and Zenith Waves are opening up for Misadventures and Brainwash out of Wisconsin. That's going to be a...
That should be interesting, trying to hear Helen Keller try to sing and play music.
Yeah, different Helen Keller. But no, they're quite a bit of fun. They're a little on the softer side of things, but they're a bit of a pop punk type deal, and they're very interesting. Quite a good show that they put on. They have a bunch of stuff up on Bandcamp. I would suggest looking them up, as well as everybody else that I mentioned. And
where can we find your music? You guys have it on iTunes, Spotify. I know you guys have a Facebook page, but where can they find you?
We have some crappy demos up on SoundCloud and YouTube. We have a bunch of our live footage up from the shows we've taken part in, but hopefully very soon we will have some real quality stuff to post up. Like I said, we're going in next month to get some recording done, and then we'll have something golden to show you.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. You keep me posted on that EP. I'd love to plug it for you guys once it gets released, or any future shows. I mean, I'll make sure to mention on August 12th, you guys are at the Garage in Burnsville. I'll make sure to mention that when we get closer to that date. Any other upcoming shows, you just let me know, and I'd be more than happy to plug them for you guys. I mean, it was a pleasure talking to you guys. I really enjoyed your music. I mean, I definitely think grunge needs to make a little bit of a comeback. It's been too damn long since that music genre has died out. I really enjoyed bands like Nirvana, Alice in Chains, that whole Seattle sound, but grunge type music, I mean, I really personally might be my favorite genre of music. So I wish you guys nothing but the best, and you guys have some good music ahead of you guys, and I'd be more than happy to go to your August 12th show. Just keep me posted on the times and everything, and I'll see if I can make it, and maybe we can have it. I can buy you guys around or whatever afterwards. We'll see, but yeah, I mean, thanks again for really coming on. I mean, we really appreciate it, and for everyone again, I mean, Fix the Glitch. Definitely give these guys a listen to. So, do you guys have anything else to add on before we shut this down here?
We're good. Thanks for having us on, man.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. We love promoting you guys. So, this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the Spot, signing out. Everyone have a great night.